Well, I'm Mike Mean, recently retired as Rector of Leominster, and working both as a volunteer and some days as a member of staff here at the Vaccination Centre on the admin side. And I'm married to Leslie, who's a retired doctor, and she's actually jabbing this afternoon, and I'm running to and fro with supplies. We both lived in Leominster for the last 13 years while I've been working here at Leominster Priory, but we now live in Webley. I mean, when the lockdown started, I was still at work. It obviously affected our operations really quite a lot, with Church of England staff having to put services online. I mean, who knew about Zoom this time last year? And now we all find ourselves, you know, editing stuff and putting it online and all sorts of bits and pieces. So we've all come a long way in that time. And the same's true for the Vaccination Centre here. I mean, since you know, late December when we started operations, things, you know, have developed quite a lot. Yes, I've done some volunteer work before. I mean, obviously, you know, working in the Church of England, there's a very fuzzy line between, you know, what we do as members of staff and what we do as volunteers, on working with other volunteers there too. But I am a driver on the Severn Valley Railway, and have been a volunteer on that on the Severn Valley for many years. So that's one of my other current volunteering roles. A good friend of ours is one of the local GPs, and also my wife being a doctor, and us both taking a technical interest in, because of our, you know, original backgrounds, taking a technical interest in the whole vaccination programme and so forth. So it was an obvious step just to become involved, both as volunteers and members of staff on the project. We are able to look online. Some of us have got access to the online information, and also Charlotte, our manager here, for those who've not got that access, phones round as required. One of the problems, of course, is very often it's short notice. When we get a batch of vaccine, then we suddenly need to set up the entire clinic and the, you know, invitations to patients and all the other bits and pieces. So there can be quite a lot of work, you know, getting both volunteers, staff, and patients in the right place at the right time. The 1st of January, when we had about 1,000 healthcare professionals who came for their first dose, and it was manic. Great fun, but manic. Marshalling, car park, sanitising and recycling clipboards, and today I'm a runner, so I'm going to and fro and getting vaccine supplies and other bits and pieces to the tables where the vaccinators are. Well, it's a tremendous feat of cooperation, really. We all get on very well, and you know, there's good relations between the volunteers, amongst the volunteers, and with the you know, the staff from the various GP practices and so forth. We're all, it's very positive. We're all having a good time, I think. There's quite a wide variety of us here from all sorts of different backgrounds, and it's great fun. Of course, at the moment, it's the only social show in town, so we're, the volunteer side, we are having a fantastic time. In the main, people are massively positive, and you know, they thank us. Occasionally, we get one or two grumpy sorts who are affronted because we asked them to fill in a form, or affronted because they came thinking they were getting vaccine A and they've got vaccine B. But we are always scrupulously polite to the members of the public who come along, and most of them are marvellous. They're really positive, they're glad to see us, they're glad to be here, and they're just thankful for having the vaccine. I would certainly recommend it. It's an opportunity, I think, for many of us. There's a slight feeling that we can start the fight back a little bit against the COVID problem. It's tremendously well organised, and that's a huge credit to our manager and our clinical lead, both of whom have worked enormously hard. And I know sometimes, you know, in the early days in particular, they were working late into the night, making sure that we'd got the right mix of patients here and that we'd got all the volunteers and all the staff in place. So they've worked tremendously hard.